I got into one of the best music schools in the world without knowing anything about music. Hey everyone, what's happening? I'm Faz, and today is story time. I went to Berklee College of Music, and I got in by beatboxing. And when I tell people that, some of them are like,
"No way, you're the beatbox major? I heard about you."
Well, I don't know who started this rumor, but that's not exactly true. There is no beatbox major, but what is true is that I auditioned and got accepted by beatboxing at my audition. I had no other musical skills, no formal training on any instrument. I was a subpar singer, and I knew absolutely no music theory. So how did I do it? Well, in order to tell this story properly, we gotta go back to the 90s. This is little Faz, and he loved music. He would ask his mom all the time for piano lessons, and his mom would always say the same thing. "No, we don't have any money." As was the case for many children of immigrant parents in this era, music wasn't really important enough to spend money or time on, but he really wanted to play piano. So he kept asking, and every time the answer was the same: no. So he tried to negotiate. Something smaller? No. Something cheaper? No. And that's where beatboxing came in. What started as making sound effects and theme music while playing with his action figures grew into imitating sounds that he heard in music, which at the time was primarily hip-hop and R&B. He eventually got pretty good at it and would perform for his friends on the school playground. When he got to high school, he joined a vocal jazz ensemble where he beatboxed and got to perform all across Canada and US. He even taught workshops at colleges, conferences, and music festivals. But then the time came for him to go to college. He started a degree in neurobiology, and although he really enjoyed it, his heart wasn't in it. He daydreamed every day about his passion. All he wanted to do was perform and make music. So after 2 years, he quit his degree to pursue his dreams. Almost everyone around him told him he was crazy. "It'll never work. You'll be poor forever. Oh, it takes too much luck, laddie." His parents were furious. His family doubted him, but he was determined. He said to himself, "No matter what it takes, I will be a musician." It's the backstory of how and why I started down this path in the first place. But I quickly found out it wasn't going to be that easy. I did some research and I realized I needed to have conservatory grades or pass proficiency tests and do all this other stuff and blah, 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 just to even apply to these schools. I was gonna have to spend a ton of time and effort and money just for the chance to go to one of these schools. Then I found a school that didn't require all these things. Their acceptance was audition-based, Berklee College of Music. So the process was a long one. There were 4 parts. There was an application, an essay, an audition, and an interview. So first came the application. It's pretty much your average post-secondary application. Fill out your information, a few short questions about your musical background and training, which again was none. But I did have a lot of performance experience from my time in high school, so I put that down. I did have to choose an instrument at this point. I don't remember if there was an other option, but I do remember doing voice and writing in somewhere beatboxing. For the essay, I wrote a much more detailed version of the backstory I gave, my struggles with trying to learn music, how I got into beatboxing, and my need to learn more about music. Then came the audition, and that was pretty scary. There were 2 professors, and luckily enough, they seemed pretty chill, so I was a little bit more relaxed, but still pretty nervous. And it was broken up into 3 parts. So there was the prepared piece, then there was a melody test and a rhythm test. So for the prepared piece, I layered myself on my phone, and then I beatboxed a bunch of different rhythms and grooves over top of it all. And then came the melody test. I didn't do
Too rigorous.
Basically, they play a melody and you have to sing it back to them as accurately as possible. I started off okay, but each melody gets harder and longer, and I very quickly was out of my depth.
I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
I could tell that I was not doing well, and they had to play the same melody a few times over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, and I could just tell that I was doing terribly. But then the rhythm section came next, and I killed it. Similar to the melody test, they would clap rhythm and I would have to clap it back to them. Each one would get more difficult and longer in duration. I eventually slipped up and made a mistake because they got so long I just couldn't really remember the entire rhythm. It felt like I was doing the rhythms 3 or 4 times longer than the melody section. And then they talked to me and they said,
"So we really like you. You're very good, but what do you want to do here?"
And I basically just told them, I want to learn to write music. I want formal training and I want to perform. So they were like,
Okay, cool. That's great.
and they sent me along to have my formal interview. So in the interview part, it was a little more formal. It was a different room, a different person. I believe it was like an admissions person. They asked me a bunch of logistical questions. They asked me what I wanted to learn and all that. Basically, the bottom line of what I told them was I was willing to do whatever it took to learn music. It was the greatest passion in my life. Eventually, over time, I got my acceptance letter. I majored in professional music, which is kind of like a build your own major type thing. And luckily for me, they let me kind of do whatever I wanted. I was technically in the vocal department, but I took lessons in guitar, percussion, and even private lessons in piano. Took 20 years, but little Faz finally got to fulfill his dream. I attended Berklee for 4 years and learned so much about music, but that's a story for a different day. So why am I telling you this story? Berklee saw something in me that no other school would even glance at. I couldn't even apply to the worst music schools in my local area, and yet I went to one of the best music schools in the entire world. It just goes to show that even if you're not accepted in some places, there is always somewhere you belong. Seek out the people and the places that value you. If you want to hear more stories about how I got started beatboxing, my time at Berklee, or just my life in general, please let me know. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, do all that good free stuff because it helps so much more than you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Faz, and have a great day.